Good evening, everyone. This is Gil with Camppatton Family Compound. I'm here with Tammy from Rebel Canners and Mark from Chef Tech. It is Monday night Fireside chat time, and tonight's topic is canning on a wood fire. So here we are. Well, here I am. Everybody's hiding. Anyways, I'm going to say hi to everybody out here and make sure I got everybody in the side chat here. It says we got 21 people in here, and let's see what we got. We got Mother Earth Garden Club was the first one in, followed by Walt Rogers, then Phelan Clan Wolf. Tammy popped in there and said hi to everybody. Howie, Food Forest Permaculture's here. Mark's double dipping for both of us on either side. Grow Big TV is here on Tammy's side. So that's either Joe or Corky. And also on your side, Tammy, is Michelle aka Yarn Disaster. Okay, I got it now. And you're still muted, Tammy. And let's see here. Oh, and I threw up all the emojis that channel members get, all 17 of them. And on those emojis, the tomato, the apricot, and the fruit tree were suggested by Kaylin Strain.
Oh.
All right, and we have Diana's here. Diana 2. Shenanigans is in the house. And Kaylin Strain is here. CB at Hugo Homestead's here. Diggs Outdoors is in the house. Hey, haven't seen you for a while, Diggs.
Hey,
how's it going?
I've missed you.
Garden State Gardener's here. And Diggs is coming in came in on your side, Tammy. And just let's see. Yeah. Okay, I think I got everybody. And Diana 2 is coming in on both sides. She's on both, watching us on both sides. So cool.
Perfect.
And all right. So this is one this topic is almost belongs over on Gray Man Prepping. But it belongs here because we've been doing all the canning here, and it is still canning, and it is still, we're going to talk about some other things in here as well about it. But if the power is totally out for whatever reason, it could be out only for a week or two, and you don't have enough fuel to keep your generator going, keep your freezer full, you're going to need to start canning stuff. Or if it's in the middle of harvest time and you got all this food coming in and sitting around and you need to can it and the power's out, you got to get it canned. And so that's where tonight's topic of canning on a wood fire comes in. Now,
or if you're like me and you forage when you camp, you just take your canner and jars and
yeah.
As long as it's a backpack trip, I take that canner.
You sleep with your canner, so that's just weird.
Hey, only the one.
Hey, if it's an all-American and it was mine, it'd be on the empty pillow next to me too.
No, mine are stacked up like the Leaning Tower of Pisa in my kitchen. -1 out in the garage still, which I need to put a new gauge on.
I am, I cannot find anything I love more to sleep on my pillow. It even disposed the cat. I say.
Let the cat sleep inside it. No, I'm just kidding. Ugh.
No.
All right, so it is Joe here on Grow Big TV as well as Garden State Gardener. So cool. All right. So there are a lot of interesting things that you need to pay attention to when you're doing canning on an open fire, campfire, wood fire, coal fire, or charcoal briquette fire. And we'll touch on most of those at the end, but we're going to touch on some of the ones as we go along here. So let's get over here with this. I got a few pictures here for us to look at. Oh, wrong way. This one made me nervous. A rocket stove for canning. I mean, to me, that's like we talked about when we were doing talking about cooking on propane outdoors and stuff. That because I've seen rocket stoves get really hot, and they change temperature quickly. And that reminded me of the turkey broiler cooker grill things, where you can wind up melting the bottom out of your.
I'd want a lot of water in that pot. I'd want it to be a water bath, not a pressure canner for a rocket stove.
I wouldn't pressure can on a rocket stove.
I'm voting no for my pressure canner going on the rocket stove.
Me too.
I love my baby on my pillow.
Now looking at this here, if anybody can tell, so you have the nice shiny stainless steel, special rocket. And then you got the bricks up a little bit higher, one level higher. I would probably move put half bricks on there and put some rebar across there and set a water bath on top of that. Give me a little bit of space between more space.
An air gap.
Yeah. I don't know what they got on top there. It just looks like some. Oh, it is a can. I'm sorry. I'm seeing the other half of your background.
Then here is a homemade rocket stove. And they got some 6-inch vent pipe going in the bottom. But still, looking at it, that is a Presto pressure canner up on there. And they got bricks around it, trying to keep the heat trapped in there. Again, with any type of rocket stove chimney thing like that, I'd be a little bit leery of putting a pressure canner on that. I'd rather go with the water bath myself. Little Lone Prepper, how's it going? And then, all right, here's where we're getting to a point. We laughed about this the other night because the rack they're using looks like a rack out of it's a rack out of an oven, and it's not meant to be near hot coals like that, and
not much weight.
Fire, it's starting to sag and melt and heat up, and the pressure can is bending it down. But if you notice that most of the coals are back away from it, and they're not stacking up a new fire down at the end to make more coals. But the pressure's up at
it's like about 12.
7.5 pounds.
Okay. I can't see that at all on my phone.
12.5 pounds. Yeah, 12.5 pounds.
Yeah, it looks like about 12.
Yeah.
12, yeah. 12.5 pounds. So. But the one thing that bothers me about this, and Mark made mention of it before we started, it's got the plastic melamine, Melmac, whatever you want to call them, handles on it. So it's getting heat coming straight up the side. But and if you're wondering about the heat coming straight up the side, look at all the soot stains on it. The thing's been blackened from soot and heat coming up the side of it.
Let me stop right there. So, as a professional camp cook, do you know how to prevent those soot stains? You rub the bottom of your pots with dish soap before you put them on the fire, and they will clean up just as if you never had them on there. Okay, we can go on.
Yeah. And so what worries me is that the handles would get too hot.
Yeah.
Much like, I'm going to make myself big for a second. Much like he said he was talking about my Presto here and having the same handles off the side, he said he would not use that over a wood burning stuff, a wood campfire, coal camp, whatever. Anything producing enough heat to
open flame
pressure can. There's heat going up the sides a lot more than you would expect being inside a house.
Yeah.
All right, so but this setup would be great for the water bath canner they got sitting on the pavers or the flagstone off to the side of it there.
Hey, quick off-topic tip:
if
you're gonna find something to barbecue, to like grill raw food on directly on there, like it looks like a burger sitting over there, I wouldn't use anything out of an oven or a refrigerator because they're usually galvanized.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to eat that stuff or heat it for that matter over an open flame. That's not good.
Actually, they're chrome coated, and you don't want the chromium coming off.
That too.
Yeah. And I want to point out one more thing. If you're going to build one of these, build it so your rack is all the way to the edge. He's living life really risky over there. That rack is only halfway on the brick on each side. Those bricks are not mortared in.
It's got it's probably
even
on
got
the
some
side
pieces
over
of
about
wood.
3/4 of an inch on that side, on the side towards the water bath canner.
And it's got some like wood or charcoal or something under the one end there, trying to make it level.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this
Not
is
my
not this is not the setup. I would definitely bring those bricks in closer. Yeah, it's just a little scary. I'm a rebel, and I wouldn't do that. And I've done it.
Sketchy.
And I wouldn't do that. Yeah.
There's being a rebel, and then there's being a berserker.
Okay. Yeah.
So Sumi's here, and she is currently canning tomatoes. Woo! All right, and Tony from Our Cabin in the Woods is here.
Hey.
All right, so let's go to the next one here. All right, now you can do wood fire.
He missed the first slide about the rocket stove.
Yeah.
Yes, I have one of these. It's not as pretty as that one, but I have the 1930s Home Comfort, and she is my other baby. I can't put her on the pillow though; she'd make the whole camper tip over.
All right, Tony, rocket stoves are. I'm going to whip back here really quick to homemade rocket stove, another type rocket stove. We agreed water bath only on rocket stoves because you don't have a good control of the
so the heat temperature. Yeah. You can do anything on the stove you can do at home. Anything.
Food Talk is wanting me to roast a pig.
Okay, guys, I tried to go pork free and you're killing me over here.
Or you want to do a quarter or half or a whole cow.
Yeah, there you go.
Walt, shut up. Do not make a comment, Walt. Walt's my buddy. Do not make a comment because he has a cattle ranch.
Oh, Walt, we need to talk. I wish you were closer.
He's farther west than I am.
Oh.
All right.
I need to find somebody.
Suzanne Goulet is here on your side, Tammy. All right, so you don't have to go outside to cook on a wood stove. Well, my grandmother and great-grandmother had stoves in the house.
You don't want to make a campfire in your living room floor either, so that's a problem.
Yeah. But there are some pictures. Unfortunately, a lot of pictures there are of these are out of proportion, and it took up too much trying to put them on here. But so you got one with a water bath on it, but there's a couple of them where they're canning on them.
I got another critique of this one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just an optical illusion, but you need to be 12 inches away from the wall, even if it's cement board. And that one, just saying, it's not the water.
That one's a tad bit close, unless they put the insulated cement board up behind it with the asbestos on it with the.
No, they still say 12 inches minimum. I've read the original manual.
Could be a cinder block wall.
12 inches. Yeah. Airflow. You have to have it for airflow. Yeah. It's not just
airflow.
Airflow. So
that's probably a stage set up in like. It's probably a stage set up in one of George Washington's million houses he slept in or something.
I don't know if you can. I don't know if anybody I'm looking on their phone isn't going to be able to see it. But if you got a nice big TV or a big monitor, you can see up near the top here where my cursor's moving. There's a box of Clorox wipes sitting in the windowsill.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one here. All right, so here you are. Another angle on it. Same stove. They got some sort of backer board up there. But here they got the pressure canner, and of course they got, when they do the pressure canner over these the spots, they'll take off one of those covers, burner covers.
Yeah. So on the left here, that little square to the left of the pressure canner below, that's the wood box or coal box. The center one is the oven, and the far right, that is the wood boiler, where the underneath there is all water. There, it's just heating water for you. So this stove is wonderful because it's heating your water. You can actually water on the far left in that.
Yeah, and there's your vent for your firebox. Down here.
Yes. And then the ashes fall the next layer down. It's 2 layer. The ashes fall down.
Yeah. All right. So and there are people that, or companies that are making what do you want to call it? Not retro.
Retro. The newer
replicas.
No. Reproductions.
Repros.
Yeah. Of these that you can get that are all cast iron with enamel on it, with chrome, with brass, with all sorts of stuff on it. But all right, so let's see here. This was an unusual one here. There are other pictures. Now under the jars here, there's ceramic tiles they lay over that burner, and because basically it's a steel plate burner here that you set the pots on. And here's some of the tiles laying over here. But this was really, really interesting with the firebox down here going. And in what you can barely see here between the pressure canner and the kettle, there's the black stovepipes going up out of the back there.
That looks homemade. A lot of homes in Russia, I've seen very similar setups. And then the stovepipe actually goes up and heats the upstairs, and it's really interesting.
And Misty came in on your side.
Hi, Misty.
All right. Let's see. So you can cook on wood indoors if you're set up for it.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to experiment this winter and put a fire in my wood stove and see if I can get pressure from my pressure canner on mine. I don't think I'm going to be able to, because the way it has the way it's built to project air into the room off the firebox. Although the top does, I have put pots up there, and it does get steamy. You get steam coming off of it, but it's not boiling the water. So I'll have to see what happens. Give it a little experiment. I'll try canning some water, and we'll see what happens. All right, this one I thought was kind of interesting. This was titled a Amish canning for this one here. Over here, it looks like this big square thing, almost looks like a coffin, is the canner. Underneath of it is a metal firebox with a flue pipe going off to the right here.
And the lid is right there. It's got 2 handles. See, the lid is
that's the
leaning
lid, that's
against
the lid
it with
right
the 2
there.
handles they put back.
But they also got other fires going around there and things going on. So, but that is definitely some serious canning there with something the size of a coffin on there.
Yeah. Well, and that's also their maple syrup box.
Yeah.
That's where they boil the maple syrup down in that. That's a maple syrup boiler.
Yeah. Interesting. I can see jars here on my big monster screen here off to the side. I can see jars up here, and this one lady right here is lowering a jar in. So
behind her, there's a pressure canner, and then up the hill, there's 3 pressure canners those 2 ladies are filling.
Yeah. So this one I thought was interesting. This is a homemade one. This is really cool. So the top shiny piece is the water bath. The bottom piece is the firebox. This is made for water bathing. It's got a ball valve on the side here to drain the water out of it once you're done.
Yep.
This looks pretty stout, and
that's like the one I sent you.
Yeah. This is really cool. But and of course then they got their half 55-gallon barrel back here set up for doing something else into and stuff. But one of these would be if you're planning on doing water bathing in the summertime and you don't want to do it in the house, this is a great setup to do it outdoors.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This outdoor kitchen would be fabulous.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Getting to the point now with both coal, briquettes, and wood. You cook on coals, not flames. You can on coals, not flames.
Yeah.
So, and I got one more picture here. As with the Dutch oven, you have a fire going off to the side to make more coals, and then you bring the coals over to where you're cooking or canning.
Yep.
So a shovel is going to be nice. A little narrow rake will be nice. A hoe would be nice. Things you can do to move the coals around, and a long pair of tongs with a little cut frame on the end of it, so you can pick up a log, move it, or you can scoop up a bunch of coals and put them where you want them to.
I don't think I want Kamala anywhere near my fire pit. You mentioned a hoe. Sorry. Yeah, that's why you invite me here.
Nothing political. No political.
Okay. I was doing some research on the camel toe, and I went back and dug up some deep stuff and everything else. I will say one thing. She was dating a senator that was 31 years older than her when she got her big break.
Of course she
Okay,
was.
now moving on.
You started it.
Back to topic.
That's the end of that topic. Kaylin, but can she can? Or but does she can?
I don't know.
No, she doesn't.
I doubt it.
No, she might chip a fingernail. Anyways, okay. Now, one of the things that was weird, I thought about after I had already made it, it was after I was getting set up here. I talked with Tammy and Mark beforehand, so we're going to talk a little bit about it now. So here's the scenario for you guys. One of the reasons you might be canning outside, besides canning outside keeps the house cooler, which is common sense.
Always a bonus.
And if you're doing a lot of stuff, get one of those big square rectangular bathtub type water bath canners. It makes it a lot easier. And but if you like doing all your canning indoors and you have solar panels to power your AC and everything, you're not worried about it, but suddenly your battery system blanks out on you and you need to go outside and start canning because the power is out, your freezer's full of frozen vegetables, lamb, turkey, beef, pig, you name it. All your chest freezers now are no power, and you just find out it's going to be a week or two before they get the power back on to you. You're going to need to start canning.
And Home Depot.
One of the things that came up.
Generators.
Yeah, whatever. Your generator doesn't have a fuel that lasts that long. So one of the things that I was talking to him about was, well, if you're smart, like most homesteaders and preppers and try to be, and they get the bones back from the butcher as well, you're going to start needing to do bone broth. Mm-hmm. And Mark, I think, came up with the best idea, and that is like what's going on right down here is a Dutch oven on there. Yeah. Put the bones in the Dutch oven and roast them up a little bit, and then put them in a pot with hot water to make bone broth. And then you can can the bone broth while you're canning everything else. Okay, that's good content, and it's over here. Homestead, Tennessee has one of those big rectangular canners. Yeah.
Those are almost $300 at Lehman's Hardware.
Yeah.
And it's on my wish list. But
I have an idea. Get yourself an old cast iron clawfoot bathtub and just put something flat in the bottom so you can. There you go. You can just take that outside and even have a drain where you just have to make sure you can get to the drain.
Well, you plumb the drain out with a pipe coming out with a ball valve on it.
There you go.
Funny story on that cast iron. I have hauled that thing around for many a year. I have not used it since 1992, and I have kept it, and I have it in my cabin, and I'm not taking it outside and lighting a fire under it and making it a hot tub. But it is
that'd be my first thought.
It is one of my most prized possessions. It's ugly, it needs refinished, and it's older. It came out of a house that was 200 years old, and I'm sure it was original to that.
Yeah. I would water bath in it first, and then when it's done, add a little cold water, and as long as I didn't siphon any tomatoes or beef broth out of it, I'd hop in.
Wash all the hot sweat from doing all the canning off.
That's right. Yeah.
That's right. But yeah, I think that you could just take some sheet metal and fabricate one of those big canners. And I know a welder, and I'm going to have him do that for me.
You can literally use the bottom third of a 55-gallon steel drum.
Yeah.
Just cut it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. You know the metal, and they're aluminum, but the big feed buckets or water buckets you can buy used to be very common. Now they went to rubber tubs. But before they had rubber tubs, they had those galvanized. You can put one of those over your campfire and do quite a few jars. And I love it. Yeah. I've done that before.
Just don't breathe the fumes when you first fire it up as the galvanic material is burning off.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on a minute here. Images. Come on, give me images. There we go.
Yeah. I'm going to save that clawfoot bathtub. Yes. You know how many you can do in some of those?
Yeah.
But you don't need that big.
Don't need that big.
No.
That size is the galvanized one.
There you go. There's a big one.
Yeah.
I don't need it quite that big.
There you got different sizes for them stuff. And the thing is, so if you put a lid on it, you don't have to have a metal lid for it, really. You can make a lid out of plywood and put on it.
Yeah, just got to keep the heat in. Yeah.
Keep the heat in. Yeah. All right. Shoot.
Another thing to remember, sticks and little pieces of wood burn hotter than great big logs.
Yeah. And they burn faster. Yeah.
And so I think I cringe every time I see somebody doing where they're clearing and they're like, oh, I'm saving these logs like this for firewood and everything's smaller. I am making a bush fire and burning the brush. And I'm like, dude, you just all of that could have went in your wood stove.
Yeah. You took all your kindling away.
Yeah. Except I do it, but I do it for the potash for my gardens. So.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that, it's a trade-off, but I just look at that and go, there are people that spend hours collecting that in foreign countries to have a fire to feed their family. And you just lit it up and wasted it.
All right. So So this one's for you, Mark.
Uh-oh. Here it is.
Here's the interesting one. It's this first one here. I'm going to make it big over here. It's got a cast iron foot on it. And you put that up on blocks and you have a fire under in the middle. The fire's going to go up and heat evenly before the heat comes out around it. So you're going to be heating the whole bottom of it evenly with that one. But something like this, yeah, you put it, you get some.
That's the one I have.
Yeah, you put some. If you need to, you dig a little hole from the side where you can feed the wood to it, or dig a trench lengthwise and you just feed in from one side, then you feed in from the other side, so you can heat it up, and that would give you a lot of water. Of course, you'd want to put some sort of flat grate in the bottom to keep the jars all nice and level and keep them from bumping into each other.
And you may want to put bricks on one side so you can get close to it while the fire's going.
Yeah.
It would certainly, you could buy one of those antique copper pans cheaper than this, or buy the pre-made one at the Lehman Hardware, way cheaper than this cast iron bathtub, even used.
No, I'm sure you could find a beat up cast iron bathtub that somebody's about giving away.
You
like
cannot.
It just needs refinishing. Yeah.
You cannot.
Oh.
And I'll tell you why. Because they cut them in half and they put them over the statues of Mary around here. You must not live
in California. You can find them, a lot of them, because people you got to go to the scrapyard to find them, and the guys in the scrapyard just set them off the side, and they know someone will come in for them, and they'll pay like twice the price of the cast iron by weight for it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's I know several of them that have them around there, and it's like, now some of those ones. Let me go back here. A lot of the ones you're going to find in California look like. Come on, where is it? The
ones that fit in the wall. They're square around the edges. Yeah, like that. Yep.
Cast iron like that. Yeah, there are a lot of those cast iron ones in California.
We grew up with one in our house, and I'm pretty sure it's still in the house because after my uncle did the mud tile job around it, it ain't coming out anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't take those out with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Well, you can. But
Glenn's here. How to garden and Musgrave Family Farm is here. Sorry, I didn't want to mispronounce it. Didn't want to throw an H in there when I shouldn't have, or leave something out. So you can't, you can get sheet metal fabricators to make a one of those square ones fairly good. I wish, if I'd known now what I had known back when I got married, actually a couple of years before I got married, I would have had my dad make a couple of those big square ones, because he was making toolboxes to go on my brother's work trucks and stuff like that.
My son is doing welding, and he's in welding school right now, so he can do any of that because they have all of the fancy equipment there that he won't have once he graduates. And
just have him get some 3/16 steel plate, bend it into a U shape, and weld two ends on it, and drill a hole in it. There you go. Make a lid for it.
Yep. Oh, I've already shown. I just show him pictures. I just keep sending him pictures. He's like, "What's this?" I said, "My Christmas present. You need to make me." I just keep sending him pictures.
Okay.
Well, I'm using my wood splitter. I love my wood splitter.
Yeah. All right. There was something else I wanted to talk about. I had a squirrel moment and lost it.
Sorry.
Let me go back in time here, looking at the pictures here, and see.
Had to be something about a bathtub, and going back in time, knowing what you know now. Then.
It was. Okay. Yeah. So you mentioned about the metal 55-gallon barrels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got to make sure, if you're going to make one of those, either and cut them in half or cut it at the first. It's got two ribs on it going around, and if you're going to cut it, above it from the bottom and below it from the top, so you have that rib you can bend over to make it a safe, smooth edge.
Yeah.
You're going to want to use a barrel that has the bung holes in it, not the one where it has the whole lid that comes off. It has a rubber gasket on it. You just want to be melting that rubber. So with those bungholes are 2-inch iron pipe thread, which means you get a 2-inch metal bushing, take it down to 3/4 inch, put a street L on it, run it off to the side with a 12-inch nipple on it or 18-inch nipple, and put a ball valve on it so you can drain the one of them. The other one, you're going to have to get what's called a bulkhead fitting, a metal bulkhead fitting, drill the bottom, put it in there, and then put your pipe fittings go on it. Now, if you're going to put legs on it, I would suggest getting what's called a floor flange, and I'll show you people what that is.
You could literally not worry about putting drain holes in it. It only holds, let's see, 55 divided by 3 is what, 17 gallons less? So it's only going to hold like about maybe 10, 15 gallons. Just let it cool off and bail it out. You don't have to go. If you need to do something that desperately, just cut the barrel. Don't worry about the sharp edge.
Or what I'm thinking about is also if you have an accident and you got a broken jar in there and you need to drain the water out to clean it up to get going again. So this is a floor flange right here. You get 4 of those, 3/4 or 1 inch. You get 3 of them. Put it at a triangle on the bottom of it, and then short 6, 12-inch nipples, whatever, for legs. That way, it's got 3 points. It's always balanced. It's not rocking on you if you have 4.
Right.
And that would make it really more stable and easy to work with. And got a question here. Can you double stack the water bath?
Yes. Yes, you can.
Yeah. They have special
just get another rack. Put a rack between them.
Yeah, special racks and stuff for that.
Yeah, you just want to make sure that the jars on top aren't pushing on the lids on the bottom, or it's going to have a heck of a time getting the bubbles out.
Yeah, you stagger them. Yeah. You stagger them, or you get that lid or that rack, just like you have in the bottom. The All-American always comes with 2. If you your other bigger one should come with 2, but if you've lost it or you're using a system like this, they are $12.99 at the hardware store. Literally,
I bought a couple extras because
a few years ago.
I'll quadruple or triple stack half pints if I'm pressure canning.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm searching something, finding it. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, I guess I didn't order that off of. Oh, dang it! I think they switched things on me here. I hate it when Amazon does that. Gives the same page number to it. After they'll take an item off, and then a year or 2 later they'll give that same page number to a different product. So when you try to search back to it from what you ordered several years ago, it brings up the other product. Okay, because what I was looking at, I ordered a long time ago for when I was in Scouts for the Dutch ovens, is racks with tall legs on them.
Oh, I've seen those.
Yeah, and so they come in different heights and stuff, but the tallest one I have, pint jars will fit under that no problem. And so I put the pint jars in, I put that. Then I'd put the bigger, sturdier rack over that, and then start my jars in the middle, and I'm working my way to the outside edge. And that would work great for double stacking in a water bath canner.
Yeah, also, and my 921.
Yeah. The other thing, if you have a rectangular one and you have a friend that has a TIG welder, you can get the metal shelf brackets that take the clips on it, that you squeeze the clip and it comes out and you adjust it really quick, and have them put several of those down the side, and then make a rack that you can put in there to put space between the jars below and the jars up above, and it just lifts right out with like the little hooks you use to move a Dutch oven around. And that way you have plenty of room, and you just lift the, after you take all the jars off, you lift the rack out, and then you get to the jars on the bottom.
And I water bath in my 921, and I just use the double racks. So I use my canner as a water bather sometimes. in the house.
And my wife uses my mom's pressure canner as a pressure cooker.
Oh yeah, they're cooker canners.
Hey, I used my 920, the big one, 930, for the first time ever, and I was really leery of doing it. I did my bone broth in there. After I roasted the bones real well, I dumped them in there and loaded it up with water and just put the thing on there. I just brought it up to 8 psi. I didn't want to boil it out, but I let that sucker go for a while. The bones were soft. It was great.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, that brings up another question. Now you said the word soft with bones. After you made your bone broth, you said the bones get soft. Do they get hard again once they dry out?
No, not really. So
No.
I
So
did.
in other words, then they're good for dogs.
Yes.
No.
Way back in the day on Rebel Canners in the beginning, I bought a ton of chicken backs and necks, and I made I used one of my really big pots, made a really big pot of chicken broth. And then when it was done, I strained it out really well, and I put more water in it, and not a lot, and just let it boil again. It's called a remoulage. It's a double. Basically, you're making a stock twice. The second one's not near the strength. I did that and cooked it, and was literally able to take my immersion blender. I got a stainless steel one, and put it in there because the chicken neck bones literally just turned to nothing. And I canned that up and fed it to my dogs as is. I mean, I just whipped that stuff up into a puree and hot packed it, threw it in jars, and my dogs were eating pure bone broth with bones, whatever, slurry for a month.
Bone slurry.
Bones that can splinter can be very damaging and even kill dogs. So I'm gonna vote no because I love my canine friends. So
Because
you
I
have to be
remember,
very careful. If you can't do that, be very careful.
My mom feeding our dogs on this little squirt. They get the bones out of the T-bone steaks. They wouldn't. She'd cut it so the pointed part was gone, and get the dog chew on the other parts and the round the ribeye steaks and stuff. She tossed that round bone out to the dogs and stuff. And then when they got a big bone, after she cut all the meat off of it, tossed that out, let them gnaw on that. And my aunt they had St. Bernards. They were getting big bones all the time.
Bones. He would just eat it until he couldn't, rip the marrow out and bury it in the yard.
Yeah.
So I had a Labrador puppy, and it got one of those round bones with the holes stuck over its lower jaw, behind its front.
Yeah.
We tried everything. We even got the Dremel out and tried, but it was too nervous to let us Dremel. We were scared we were going to hurt it. So we call it's a Sunday. We call the emergency vet. We make the 20-minute drive to the emergency vet. And as we're getting the dog out of the back seat, we noticed that the bone is fallen off its mouth. Yeah. That was an expensive vet bill. The vet was very good and didn't charge us, but it would have been a very expensive vet bill. So I don't do any bones anymore.
Yeah. My dad left me a really cool set of needle nose pliers. One of them is about that long from the hinge, and it goes to the other end, and it makes a 90-degree turn, and it has about an inch and a half.
Yeah. I got a bunch of those from my mechanic days.
Yeah,
they're great.
Either Tammy lost her power or something there.
Or something, yeah.
Leah's here from Cold War Prepper. And hey, Lee. Who else did I put names up there. Aiden's here. Utah Mike's here. All right. Now, one of the things when you're to think about when you're canning outdoors, we've talked about firewood briquettes. You can look up charts for a number of briquettes for making the temperature so high in a Dutch oven. If you got a pressure canner or a water bath a pressure canner especially, you can judge how many. Here she comes back. There she is. you get the you can judge it so you know, figure out approximately how many briquettes you have to have under there. However, you got to remember, briquettes burn down and will go away before 90-minute canning time is up.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to have it be after about 15-20 minutes. Okay, let's start some more. Let's start another little pile of briquettes, get it going. So as the other ones go away, you can add them to it, and you can keep your temperature at the right level to do it. Coal, I've never canned on coal. The only coal we got, we just tossed into the wood burning stove or the fireplace.
Yeah.
So and generally we
hotter.
Yeah. And generally what we did is we would toss the coal in at the end of the night in the fireplace or the wood burning stove. We toss it in at the end of in the evening when we're going to bed, and we'd get it in there about a half hour, make sure it was caught and going, and then we'd damper down the wood burning stove, or we'd close the front. We had the glass thing on the front of the fireplace that had been attached to it, and shut down the vent so it's drawn through any air gap around it, so it's still pulling, but it's keeping the so the coal's not really burning too hot, but it's keep going all night long. Oh, all right. So Mother Earth Garden Club earlier had been mentioned early today when she commented on one of the things that she got 43 pounds of grapes off her vine.
Yeah.
And grape juice out of the water bath, all sealed. Woo,
yes.
woo, woo, woo.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing too. You can grape juice, you can apple juice, you can apricot juice, peach juice, whatever. Water bath it outside. Anything, you ought to think about practicing water bathing outside over a wood fire now. And you may realize this is much cheaper than cooking it on a propane stove. Yeah. Especially if you have trees and stuff on the property. You have to prune the limbs off of different trees, even the fruit trees. You got to prune them now and then. Throw that stuff away. Save it for canning. So
any fruit trees, you better save that for smoking. That wood is valuable.
Apple, cherry, apricot. Yes, I know.
Yep. Sorry, had to interject that. I am a wood snob. Okay.
Aficionado.
Okay. I am not going to cook anything like a steak on pine because I don't eat pine sol. Now, when I'm canning the big burst of heat from pine and the hot coals, that's great. I don't mind canning as long as I'm doing something that's going to be sealed and it's underwater, so it's not getting the taste of the pine. But if you're cooking on wood, you need oak. If you're smoking, apple, cherry, oak, mesquite or whatever, depending on where you live. But that's another thing you need to realize is certain woods give off taste to the food and whatever is cooking or, on it. So be aware of that.
Yeah. Okay, let me get this up here. All right. So in about 15, 18 minutes, Cold War Prepper is going to be going live. So let me see if I can, a second, let me do that. Down here. I'm going to put this link here for you guys to go over there. And his topic is communications for the rest of us. And the link, get that in there, make sure it fits. Hopefully it goes in. All right, interesting. Facebook is acting up again. Because usually when I post a comment using StreamYard, it should post both to my YouTube channel and my Facebook channel, and it just hit the YouTube channel. Facebook's getting picky.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Other fun stuff. All right. Yeah. So coal's different. Briquettes are different. If you have an area, it is a good idea to, I would say, have a second fire. Oh, what, 10, 12 feet away from the other fire, where you can get, coals going on, where you can scoop them up with a shovel, move them over to where you're canning at. And that way you can pile them at the one end and you can rake them in, push them in as needed to. Okay, somebody's going outside there. Hang on a second here. Let me open the blind here a little bit now that the sun's gone down. I'm going back and forth. It might be Eli out there on his scooter. All I saw was a shadow going across behind the blinds there. Because it went in, out, and just went back in. So I'm hoping it's Eli. Yeah, so you're having a second fire pit going, and it helps out. Now, having extra people around, every person makes, yeah, that's Eli. He just went flying by in his scooter. Every person lightens the load by a factor of basically of a third. So it makes it 3 times easier with 2 people, and like 6 times easier with 3 people. After a while, it levels back out, just extra hands and stuff. But being able to prep the jars, heat the jars, do everything right, and and moving it. Now, Tammy,
around here in the
question for you, real quick here. Canning outdoors has a distinct disadvantage to indoors as far as breezes go.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Now,
but usually when you're outside, it's really super hot out. You're doing it because it's hot out. So that doesn't, if it's super hot out, it's fine. Michigan winter, you're not going to be doing this.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I was thinking, even if it's not super hot and it's because of the power outage and you're having to do it and you can't can indoors, you got a freezer doing it. But what I was thinking about is when you take the jars out of the water bath, if you have
sorry. I wasn't even talking with my hands at that point.
Yeah, that's called a stupid dumb phone. I mean, smartphone.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, what I was thinking is if you have like one of those big igloo flat bottom ice chests and you lay a bunch of towels in the bottom and you just take the jars out, put them in there. Even if you don't put the lid on it, that protects it from a breeze going by. If you have an old room without a lid, you just lay a big beach towel over the top to keep the breeze out. But then you can put the jars in there, and that will help.
That's a really good idea, actually.
Yeah. And so, using old ice chests for that. Now, the other thing you can do too, if you think about it ahead of time, you can get like the big if you get Amazon boxes, you get big boxes of stuff. Cut the boxes to like if you're using pints, you cut them about that much shorter, strips of cardboard that much shorter than the jar, the top of the jar, and you make it so you can notch them so they can interlace your strips, and you preset it up in there so you have a little cubby hole to put every one of the jars in. That way, once that chest cooler is full, you get two burly guys to pick it up, carry it in the house, and you unload it in the house. And you bring it out for the next batch.
Yeah. Now, here in Michigan, all the farms, the Centennial farms, have the giant cast iron pot on chains. Like looks like a spit. The fire's no longer underneath it, but they used to render their lard like that. They used to do. Have you ever seen the great big paddles for apple butter that are like 6 foot long?
It's a canoe paddle. We call it a canoe paddle. But
Oh, it's a canoe paddle. All right. And, you still can buy those to do like apple butter out over the fire. Anything that you're going to cook anything that you're going to cook a super, super long time to cook it down, you don't want all that water vapor. Literally, like if you're try to do maple syrup in your house, you will peel the wallpaper off the walls.
Yeah, all the steam.
And the paint. and the paint.
Yeah, but just think what it does. All that steam does for your skin.
Well, that's why I look so young. It's all the water bathing I've done my whole life. It's a facial every time you do the water bath. But yeah, they still have like those great big pots, and you can make a lot at one time, you know. But you got to have the extra hands, like you were just saying, to stir that, because you know one person can't stand there. You'd pass out from the heat trying to keep it stirred.
Yeah. All right, so we're getting close to the end here, and I got a kid pounding on the door. If he's pounding on the door, I know he came over here about asking, because my daughter knows I'm live and keeps the kids over there. Anyways, so coming up tomorrow on Gray Man Prepping, the topic for tomorrow actually ties into what I used to do at Homeland Security, which is the emergency management systems for federal, state, cities, counties, stuff like that. So the topic is the limitations of emergency management systems. So no, FEMA's not coming to rescue you in a disaster. All right. You know, you look at what happens everywhere. Does FEMA rescue everybody? No. They come in basically after the fact and help everybody recover, or try to help everybody recover. So that's the topic tomorrow on Tactical Tuesday on Gray Man Prepping. Thursday is the Midnight Ride with Gray Man Prepping. Next Friday here on Camppatton Family Compound is organic fertilizers. So we're going back to out into the garden on Friday. Saturday on Gray Man Prepping for Survival Saturday is dealing with youth in difficult situations. All right. And then next Monday here is very important, because I just found some really, I don't want to say this, bothersome information. And we're talking about canning applesauce. And with the information I found out there's a certain brand of applesauce out there that has in these little cups and stuff that begins with a letter that goes like this, is very, very high in arsenic. But for some reason, they're not being made to pull them. Anyways, so that's what's coming up here for the next week. And see, the school started today for, well, last week it was for the older two grandsons. Actually, it's tomorrow for Danny, and Oliver may or may not be going to preschool. They're still doing testing to say he's too smart, but he is smart. He's smart as a firecracker, but he can't pronounce words worth crap.
Hey, can I drop my link for my my canning my San Marzano tomatoes?
Yes, absolutely. So, all right, so that's what's coming up here, and I'm so there's Mark's dropping the link to.
Einstein didn't talk at all until he was 3 years old.
Well, see, Oliver's been communicating because he's got 3 older brothers, and he has to learn how to communicate. But it's like saying "or" is "ori." Mm-hmm. So "pori," something like that. He wants something. He throws in an I, a soft I, or an E, or something in the word. What was that word? And it's got multiple syllables. So it's like, say it slower. But they say he's smart. He doesn't need to have time with kids. But anyways, so they're still determining whether or not he's going to be in there for preschool, the school provided preschool. So. All righty. So once again, let me drop that last one in there again. So the link I'm dropping in here is for Cold War Prepper. In about 5 minutes, he's going live. And we'll see you then. Tammy, you going to try anything this week at all?
My son goes back to school this week. So probably the following week, I'll be able to go live again.
Okay. And so Yeah, and I coming up here on those topics I gave. Things may get a little iffy, so I'm supposed to be going to back to California for almost a week. So we'll see whether or not there may be stuff being posted on my community tab if I have to cancel for a particular night, and we'll just postpone that topic for later on. I'm also going to try to get somebody to come up here with us and help us out, but we will see what happens for like the Friday and Saturday on there and into Monday and Tuesday next week. So we'll see what happens.
Nice. Ooh, I hope you have I'm waiting for your new video. If you have not checked out Diggs Outdoors, he is revamping his channel a little bit again. And so you really need to go show him some support. So Diggs, hurry up, get a video out.
Okay. All right, everybody. So when you head over to Cold War Prepper, remember to put on their Love Raid. And it depends if you're coming from Tammy's side, put Rebel Canis Love Raid. If you come from my side, Camppatton Love Raid. All right, just to get them. Okay. All right, folks. I'll see you later.
Have a good night.